Students, I'm going to show you a little bit about how to complete Do Now number 2, which has to do with some image selection and modification. We're going to talk about a few of the tools you can use here to make your images look really great in Photoshop. Well, one of the things you need to do is if you click on Start a New Product here, we want to see if we can change it from inches to pixels. That'll give us a little bit more of a rough estimate. So let's start a new project. We'll set the width at 700. We'll set the height at 700. Resolution 72 pixels per inch, that's fine. RGB color, 8-bit is perfect. And a white background will be great. It even gives us a little bit of an estimate of what our image size is going to be as far as how much memory it's going to take. We click OK. And as you can see, we have a new image here. So let's do a little bit of work with this. As you know, we have our car here, and we want to use 4 of these cars. So the first thing we're going to do to use this car is we want to shrink it down just a little bit. Well, the way to do that is, as you notice, we're in a different frame here. We can go to Image, and we have a few adjustments we can make. But one of the adjustments we can't make here is the image size. We actually have to go down here to Image Size to change it. If you click on this, we want to change this and make it, we'll say a height of 250. Excuse me, that'd be 250. And since constrain proportions is checked, it automatically adjusts the height. So if I make this really big, you can notice that the height changes right with it. 250 is going to be a good size. So we're going to keep that as 250. I'm going to click OK. As you notice, it's shrunk down just a little bit here. Well, I'd like to use this in my new canvas, which is back here. Make sure you got your cursor highlighted on the Move command, which is right here. Notice if we hover over it, it says Move. So we'll click, and we'll move it right there. That looks really good. And while that's nice, I want to not just have one car. I'd like to have 4 cars. Hey, we could all dream about having 4 Corvettes, right? Well, now's an opportunity for us to do that. So let's just get this right. Looks pretty good there. Notice I have my background layer, which you don't see too much of, but you do see that we have this wonderful layer with the car. Let's duplicate this. So we're going to take it, click on it, drag it down right next to the garbage can. That will duplicate our layer. Notice it's now called Layer 1 Copy. But the thing is, we only see one layer here. Since we have this selected, you know it's selected because there's a little paintbrush here, and we're still on our Move command. We can actually click and drag to reveal that we actually do not have 1 Corvette, but we have 2 Corvettes. If we check each box here, you can see that this layer is indicated by this one, and this is this one. Let's do another. Let's see if we can grab this layer. We'll duplicate it. As you notice, it added a new layer up here. But the problem is, we do not see it here. We're still on Move. You can see that there's arrows to highlight that we are. We click and we drag, and you can see now we have 3 Corvettes. So that's not too bad. Well, let's see if we can add a 4th. And we'll do that quite simply. Same process. Click, drag down to duplicate layer. We're still on Move, so I just click and drag. And now I have all 4 Corvettes. You'll notice that that's pretty nice, and that looks pretty good. So 4 Corvettes right here. I'm just going to shrink it down just for a second so that you can see exactly what we have here. I just want to keep it kind of small so that the movie file stays small. There we go. Alrighty. Let's have some fun with this. Well, the first picture we're going to have a little bit of fun with, we want to actually desaturate the image. What desaturate means is I want you to think of a sponge. When we say a sponge is saturated, that means it's filled with liquid and it's just dripping out of it. Well, it's the same thing with color. When an image is saturated, that means it has way too much color. Desaturated is like squeezing that sponge and getting all the liquid and all the color out of it, leaving it black and white. Well, let's make sure we're on the right frame. So this layer obviously is the bottom one. This is the middle one. This is the second to top one. Let's use our first to top one. I click the little thumbnail, that's that little box here. Notice that it's highlighted, gives me a little paintbrush to say, hey, this is the one you're working on. Well, let's have some fun with this layer. We're going to go to Image, and we're going to adjust it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go right here to desaturate. That's going to take all the color, squeeze it right out, leaving it black and white. And as you can see right here, it's made that change. I'll do that once more just in case you missed it. We're going to go to Edit. We'll step backwards one step. So once again, we're on the right layer. I know I'm on the right layer. I can click this little eyeball here to blink it just so I know that's exactly where I want to be. It's selected. We go to Edit. I'm sorry, forgive me. Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go right to Desaturate. That's going to take the color right out of there. All right. Well, that's done. That looks pretty good. I'm going to just rename this layer so I know what I'm dealing with in the future. If I click on the layer, I'm going to just call this Desaturated. Alright, so now it's a little bit more of a specific name than just layer 1 copy or layer 2 copy. Background specific enough, we know that's the background. Well, remember I told you you could have too much saturation? Well, let's have a little bit of fun with that. A little bit of oversaturation never hurt anyone, so let's see if we can have a little bit of fun with the oversaturation. So what I'm going to do now is let's see if we can go to this layer. So that's if I click on it, if you notice, I can see that it's this one just by turning it on and off. And I'm going to call this layer, I'm just going to rename it right now while we're here. I'm going to call it Saturate. There it is. We've got the layer selected. Same idea, Image, Adjustments, and we are going to go to Hue and Saturation. Now we're going to have to do this manually. A little menu pops up to give us some options on how we're going to handle this. Well, watch what we do here. So I've got the menu, and you can see the car behind me. We've got the hue, we've got saturation. We want to have some fun with this. Remember, if I slide it all the way down, that's sucking all the color out of it. It's desaturated. This is one way you could actually take all the saturation out. We did it automatically the first time, but we want to oversaturate this. So I'm going to click the slider and bring it all the way over to the right. And watch what happens to our image. Now it's going to take our image and I'm going to click OK. It took the foreground, the background, everything and oversaturated it. We have two extremes here. We have the desaturated and we have the saturated. Looks pretty neat so far, huh? Well, let's have a little bit more fun with this because I really want you to see what this can do. So here we are. I'm going to slide this over just a little bit because I want you to really get a good idea of what we're doing. We're now going to go to our next image, and that's this one right here. Let me select it, and we're going to call this Replace Color. Because my dream was never to have a red Corvette. I wanted a blue Corvette. Now, you can live any dream you want. You can make it any color you want, but I'm going to go with blue. So first, let's see if we can rename this Replace Color. And that's looking good there. We're on the right layer. I can verify that there. It's also labeled real nice. We're going to go simply to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to Replace Color. That's going to take whatever color we have and replace it with a different one. Now this is going to get a little tricky, so I hope that you stick with me on this. We have a nice little menu here. Here's how it works. First, we need to select what color we want to replace. Because believe it or not, there's many colors here. There's the black of the street, there's the silver of the rims, there's the grayish of the tire, there's the reflection in the mirror, the window here, there's the license plate, and then there's the red of the Corvette. A real good area I found is right here because there's not a heck of a lot of glare. So if you notice, my selection is turned into an eyedropper. I click OK there, and it shows me up here I've selected red. We're going to pay attention to this black box here because this is going to tell me a little bit more about what we're looking at. If you notice here, it's called fuzziness. As you change this, you notice we're seeing more and more of the Corvette. If I do too much, you can see it actually will even select the reflection down here. So you don't want too little because you won't have enough. But I'm going to go a lot here. I did a pretty good job selecting, so I'm going to actually go pretty extreme with this. What this means is this shows me where the color I'm replacing exists. So this is where all this red exists right here. Well, what are we going to replace it with? Well, that's really easy to do. I want to replace it with something a little different. So I can actually click right here to change the resulting color. If I click right there, it brings up this nice little color palette, and I wanted a blue, so I'm going to slide up here to blue. And maybe I don't want it too dark. I want it kind of a nice royal blue. That's nice right there. All right, now this is my starting color, the red. This is my finishing color. If I hit OK, watch what happens. If you notice, it changed my color. I got a little bit of a purplish Corvette, and it also changed, if you notice, the brake lights. They're purple too, but hey, that might be the new style. Maybe I'll create a new trend that we can send over to Chevrolet. That's looking really good. If I want to make any more adjustments, I can down here. We do have options for hue, saturation, and we also have an option for lightness, which is a little bit off the screen right now. We're going to click OK to save that. So now I've done my desaturated layer, I've done my saturated layer, I've replaced the color. The last thing I want to do is I want to show you how to change the hue. So we're going to call this last layer Hue Change. Alright, looks good there. I'm on the right layer. I can check by just clicking it like that. Now that I'm here, and I could also see that there's a brush here, that also indicates I'm on the right layer. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to Hue and Saturation. We've been to this menu once before. Clicking on that, I'm going to slide this menu up here so you can see exactly what's going on. Here's our hue. Watch what happens when I change it. Watch this nice red car here. If I slide it, you're going to see that the entire image is changing. And it can go either way. And depending on while I do this, you can see our spectrum of colors changes as well. I'm going to leave it here as this nice little color. Let's see if we can click that OK. And now, as you can see, we've got 4 Corvettes. The first one we desaturated. That meant we took out all of the color. The second one, we oversaturated. We put way too much color in there, overexposed it. This next one, we replaced the color. I didn't want a red Corvette. I wanted a purple Corvette. Well, I wanted blue, but hey, it turned out purple, but that's okay. And this last one, we changed the hue, and if you notice, it changed the entire image, and looks real nice and uniform. Always remember when you're finished to save your work. You can always do that by going up here to the File menu and to save, of course. Always make sure you save frequently because you never know when you might lose your work, and you don't want to do that. Thank you so much for paying attention to this. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and there'll be more to follow. Thanks so much.